Hi, everyone, and welcome to Friends of Impact Friday. Today, I am speaking to the fabulous Lee Giove. We've practiced this before. I'm absolutely thrilled. I met Lee in joint mentorship with Kim Calvert, and I heard Lee speak, and it was at one of the events. I wasn't at it, and I thought, oh, he's such a great energy, really positive, could talk for Ireland. So I knew that we'd have a good conversation, but also his mission to impact and inspire children really touched my heart. And when I seen the beautiful creations of my wings and the impact that he's made on so many different charity organizations and the imagination, the thought process, the intention, the kindness, generosity, everything that's went into his purpose and mission. It's so beautiful. And I fully believe that we all should support Lee in his impact. And if you know anyone interested or if something resonates throughout this conversation, please reach out to him. This is an incredible guy with a fantastic mission, and it really brings so much joy to kids. So thank you, Lee, for joining me. How are you keeping?
Oh, so good. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. That really,
You're
really
very welcome.
touches my heart. I
But it's
appreciate
all the truth. I
that
think
in.
the truth is always easy to share when you're sharing from your heart. And as I said, when I heard you speak, and I wasn't at that event, but I was like, oh, you've just such a warm, beautiful energy. And as I said, your mission is it's so inspiring because it genuinely brings so much joy to children. And the fact that you have done so much for like charity organizations and kids that need that boost and really having that support and tapping into the imagination and giving them something to be feel more free and to express themselves, it's incredible. So can you tell me about you? How did you come up with the idea of My Wings?
Yeah, I would love to do that. I just have a quick question, actually, kind of logistically. Just because I've come up with these really special shirts with wings, and then developed them, over some time with some amazing people and artists. And I'm wondering, as far as our viewers and our audience, getting to see them, is there a way to like show them what the shirts look like? Is it better for me to hold some up, or is it better like, are we going to be able to kind of put some images in, or just how does that part work, just so they can actually get the vision of it
So,
too?
so even if you want to hold some up, that may be an option. Full
Okay.
transparency, I am not high tech. I am like a converted tech dinosaur. So this is like my transformation so far. You know,
Okay.
I'm sure there
Maybe.
probably is a way. I
Yeah.
know that you can, dissect it into clips and then add a wee bit extra. But I
Yeah.
think even just having the conversation and giving you a place to share from your heart,
Yeah.
maybe a good place to start anyway.
Great. I have some with me here too, so I can also share some.
Right.
So yes. Well, your question was kind of like a bit about who I am, my story, and
Yeah.
where this came from, right?
Yeah.
The inspiration. So, yes, my name is Lee Giove, as we talked about. I also like to go by Lovely. That's another name that I kind of carry, carry with me.
Mhm.
Starting with love, because that's, even before Lee, love, that's who we
Yeah.
are. So yeah, a pleasure to be here today and share some of my story. So with my wings, um, well, there's kind of like several stories that intertwine, to talk about the origins of this. But I would say one thing is that I just really value life and my
Mhm.
life, and I feel like I'm so blessed to be alive. And life is just such a miracle and a gift, and I feel really grateful that I have been surrounded with so much love in my life, my family, and community, extended family. I've just really live a very blessed life, and I've also had challenges through my life, and particularly as a child, there were some times where I felt um, hurt
Mm-hmm.
and um, scared, and I went through kind of my own situations and moments where I felt like unsafe, um, and I also like blamed myself for things, and so some of those experiences and some of the stories and beliefs that I started to form, I later in life, really started to notice how um, affected I was by
Mm-hmm.
those some of those beliefs, because I was in some of the situations that I was in, and how I perceived them, and some of the stories that I created around them. And like I said, I was kind of blaming myself. It did some damage to my self esteem and to my the way that I saw myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I so this is part of the story with my wings, because I started to look at that, when I
Yeah.
was kind of budding into my adulthood, really looking at my who I was, doing more kind of reflecting on my journey and my story and some of the beliefs that I'd held about myself, especially at those early. Well, I became just so much more so aware. Well, I
Yeah.
was starting to grow in my awareness of how affected we can be through some of our early childhood experiences. And I was just noticing, like, man, this is crazy. Like, I'm so, like, all of these experiences have shaped me so much. And now I have a chance, because I'm becoming more aware of them, I'm able to actually change them, and change my story and rewrite my story. And it was just
Mm-hmm.
pretty mind blowing, honestly, to recognize how affected I was and shaped by some of my earlier experiences in life, even in a very loving environment. Um,
Yeah.
so I think, like, all of us pretty much go through stuff, on this journey in life, and so that was particularly something profound for me. Just sort of looking at my childhood and kind of healing some of the wounds that I'd carried. And then another
Mm-hmm.
uh, potent thing was that, well, I've also really like enjoyed connecting with joyfulness and just enjoying this gift of life. I mean, it can be just how we put our attention and our focus is really another gift that we have, to get to choose that. And I've, I think it's been important for me to look at and experience, the spectrum of emotions and experiences in life. And I've also like made some conscious choices to, I want to enjoy life while I got it, and like celebrate it, and spread positivity, and so that's definitely like a part of who I am, and part of my mission, and
Mm-hmm.
just how I want to live, and part of what is baked into this whole My Wings offering, and as well.
Yeah.
And um and I was also a music teacher, so music is something that's a really big part of my life. It's something that I love. It's kind of one of the spirit gifts, connections, where I just feel really like spirit flowing through me through music. And I
Yeah.
was a music teacher for kids, and there was a certain point in our music classes where sometimes I put on some like a song, and we dance around, and I pass out scarves, and
Mm-hmm.
we'd be dancing around with the scarves, and sometimes the kids would like flip the scarves over and start flying around like they were butterflies or birds or something, and I was like, oh, so I was doing it too, and it was just awesome. And even some of the shy kids, they would be like more just this power would come through them. It would like ignite something that was within them through
Hmm.
this tool, and their imagination, connecting, this piece of fabric to, whoa, I've got wings and I can fly around. So it's just this transformation that I noticed that really helped them tap into the
Hmm.
freedom that is alive within them,
Hmm.
and that joyfulness, and it helped me tap into that too, because like I said, I was inspired by them and I was like, yeah, let's fly. So
Yeah.
so that was a part of it. And then too, I started traveling and going to some other parts of the world, and really kind of for the first time, I would say, in my own way, I was exposed to more, kind of more extreme poverty, I
Yeah.
guess you could say, and even, children on the streets, in just different kind of situations than what I'd been used to, even though I'd seen, pretty, kind of quite a bit of homelessness and stuff. I grew up in, around San Francisco and California, and there's definitely, that there, but I hadn't really seen children, on the street like that before, and it was really, it just gutted me, to see that, and I felt like I want to do something because I didn't have really, money at that point. I was kind of on sort of a vision quest, and really exploring abundance and money in a different way, and
Hmm.
financial freedom. And it was kind of at a different different phase, but I didn't really have, money to offer, but I wanted to find a way to help these children who, in my own, perspective, it seemed like they've been through some more kind of tough situations, than what I was used to and what I went through as a child, and kind of just felt like I wanted to do something to help them in a big way, around the world. And
Yeah.
so that was, kind of clicking back to this beautiful kids, flying with their wings. I thought,
Hmm.
yeah, that could be a cool way to help uplift children, children who've been through more kind of tough situations, is to
Yeah.
create some kind of like shirt with wings on it,
Hmm.
to help them tap into that essence of who they are,
Yeah.
that free
Playfulness.
free
Hmm.
space. And
Hmm.
so I started to, that idea just got like planted in me, and then it was just there with me, and I carried it and kind of was doing a lot of other things for several years.
Hmm.
um Work a lot with music, and I work with, sound healing, particularly as a like a healing modality,
Yeah.
sort of, something that I've been really into for a lot of years. I actually made a documentary on that, and and then I moved to Sweden. I went to a yoga teacher training, and that's where I met, who's my wife now and the mother of our children. And she's Swedish, and I moved out to Sweden, and this was about 11 years ago now. And pretty soon after I moved out there, I entered this contest, and it was for starting a business that had some kind of e-commerce, component to it. And
Hmm.
I was one of the winners of the contest. And I actually put an idea in for a sound healing, idea that I had, a
Hmm.
website. But then I ended up switching it and working with the My Wings concept. And I won in the contest. I won about $2,000
Hmm.
worth of, that I could use to develop my idea. And I had a year of, business coaching, and it was becoming part of an incubator.
Hmm.
So I had coaching over a year at an office space with other creative entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
and that container really, helped create the space for me to bring this idea that I'd been carrying with me, into fruition, like into
Yeah.
to start really working with it. And um and so My Wings was kind of like born, at that point. And I've been working on it since then, at different, degrees of availability. About, less than a year later, I was having twin boys, and that was quite amazing. And
Yeah.
also was bringing, a lot of my focus went into that too.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've been working with my wings for quite a while, and got met up with some other, like I was saying, some really amazing artists to help me create that. And I'd love to share what one of these shirts look like if it's a
Yeah.
good time to do that.
Yeah. Work away.
So yeah, the My Wings idea is really like I was mentioning earlier. It's like the kids put on the shirts and they feel the power.
Hmm.
And this is what one of the My Wing shirts look like. I've got four styles that I've developed already and ideas for a bunch more, but this is like one of the shirts. We
It's
call it
beautiful.
dancing butterfly. So it's like, the
It's so symbolic as well, like the butterfly, the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. I think it's that transformation. They're absolutely stunning. Can I ask, like even the artwork and the colors are so vibrant and they're absolutely beautiful. Does the middle panel come in different colors?
It will, but right
Yeah.
now we've got four different shirts, so there's different colors on each one. But
Mm,
eventually, I'm seeing like pick your color, choose your wing, like a more advanced website where people can do more customization. But
mm,
this is one of them with the
beautiful.
then we've got this one's really cool. So this is the dancing butterfly that I just showed.
Hmm.
This is the jungle butterfly here, and also very cool.
Oh, wow.
So this
They're
one's got like, oh, it's kind of
they're
tricky
so
with the
so
background.
beautiful.
It's blending in with the background. But and then
Yeah.
all of them have a booklet that come with them too.
Yeah.
And this is
Very
something,
special, isn't it? It's very unique and
yeah.
so beautiful.
So these are a special part of this also. So they all
Mm,
come with their own little booklet, and how
mm,
all of these different shirts are, a different design. They've all got a different kind of story in them. So there's a little
yeah.
poem about oh, it's kind of tricky with my background,
Butterfly. Yeah.
but they all have a different poem. There's activities in here. There's sort of a different message to it. So each of these shirts also have kind of a different set of qualities that I'm wanting to highlight about beauty in life and our uniqueness. So this jungle butterfly one, for example, on the wings there's tigers and monkeys and butterflies and waterfalls, um,
Wow.
and in the booklet the poem is about how each of us are unique, and
Mhm.
all all of our unique qualities is what makes life so rich, and enriching and beautiful. And then there's some questions about, what's something special about you, what's something special about your best friend that you love, and there's a poem, and then there's activities too. So the activities could be like making a mask to go with your butterfly shirt, or there's a little like yoga, kind of thing, in a meditation, like inner smile meditations. But the activities are meant for adult caretakers, either parents or some other kind of caretaker,
Mhm.
grandparent, aunt, uncle. Um, we also I'm sure we'll get into this too, but there's also organizations that we work with through the Gift of Wings program, and someone who's working, with those organizations with the kid. There's these activities anyway, that are all really meant to strengthen what I call the children's inner wings. So that's qualities of their self-esteem, their self-confidence, their imagination, kind of going back to what I was talking about when, with my childhood, and really examining that and thinking about, as I'm living life, what am I discovering, and what are the things that I am finding so empowering in my journey, and how can I help
Mhm.
nurture that in children, and help nurture the bond between the primary caregivers and these children, and provide activities and guidance so that that bond can be strengthened, and
Mhm.
offer certain types of activities that can really nurture these qualities that, for the most part, I mean, in a holistic kind of society, would probably really be nurtured. um,
Mhm.
and anyway, there's just like, it's always good to get help in those areas, and keep that strong, for children, and children of all ages, really. But but bringing the adults into it too, I think, part of the idea is to, like, by them engaging in these activities, that it gives them a chance to really, well, support their own children, or the children that they're, journeying through
Yep.
with this, but also the inner child within them. And
Yeah, definitely. I
yeah.
agree because I worked with kids for many years, and then I was coaching kids improving their confidence,
Hmm.
and it's so important for them, as you were saying, like to build that emotional resilience, to improve their self-esteem, to create a better self-image, like more confident version of themselves, but also to embrace their quirks and their the differences. That's something I shared earlier. And I think again that's so important. Instead of teaching kids, okay, stand in a line, blend in, you have to do this, you have to do that. Teach them to stand out, be themselves, be kind, but also stand your ground, you know. But the fact that there's so much social media notifications and distractions, and it's a very different world growing up now, whereas we were lucky and blessed to be able to use our imagination when we were younger. There was no phones, no computers. I know when I started using a computer, it was the big, massive brick of a thing, you know. Um, but I think it's very different nowadays. But for children to tap into their creativity, explore, and allow them to be in their imagination, and to I think it's such a special and beautiful idea. And I think because it came from it's the hero's journey, Lee. And I always feel like all of the conversations I'm having with my friends, everyone starts, it's like the biggest problem that they've had either growing up or throughout their lives that they actually solved. And now they're impacting other people's lives because they've came through it. And I think again, it's that inspiration and where it's coming from, and turning your pain, like emotional pain, into power and impact in little kids' lives. I think it's so beautiful. So well done, you. I think it's incredible. And
Thank
you should
you.
be so proud of yourself because it's, again, I've seen some of the pictures when I shared the reel on social media, and those little kids, that giving them hope and giving them, that sense of self, like that's invaluable.
Yeah, it is.
Kids are people. Was it they say? People won't remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And I think
Hmm.
when kids feel more empowered, and even if it's someone that actually sees something in them or makes them feel like they're valued, seen, and heard, that can make a massive difference in their entire lives.
Yeah.
Just that
Yeah.
one person or that one thing or that even being able to escape if it's poverty and pretend they're flying and remember that they can be anything they want to be. That can change the whole trajectory of their entire lives. So, yeah, well done. It's so
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah, thank you. And just tagging on to that, going back to the activity part of it, I mean, there's so many amazing activity options and things, ways that you could, utilize your time, but that's, part of it too, is not everybody, not all, maybe someone finds themselves as a parent one day and they don't necessarily have those tools, or they haven't, like, they don't know, I mean, they don't necessarily have the access to some of these, tools or ways of thinking
Mm,
because of how they were brought up,
yeah,
or, I mean, to be able to provide those, because it's really about creating what you were just talking about, really, even helping a parent, be able to show that or express that, way of seeing, or these kinds of questions, what is something beautiful about you? And really the idea is for it to be a conversation. So the
yeah,
parent could ask the child that, the child could ask the parent that, and this like loving connection.
Yeah.
And that's just such a, and then to create many moments of that together, I think can
Mm.
really strengthen
Yeah.
their connection through life, you know.
Yeah. It creates a stronger bond.
Yeah,
And it breaks the generational pattern. I always talk about this of miscommunication, of not meeting our emotional needs. But when you can attend to your own, meet yourself, honor all the parts of yourself, it means that you've more to give. But I think having those conversations, especially with kids, my little nephew's only 6 and he was in with me a few weeks ago, and I decided, well, I'm going to teach him the things that I wish I had have had when I was younger, because I was bullied and there was so many things happened. And I was like, I mean, rock bottom self-esteem. And it was only up in the last few years that I've really changed that. And it's like anything, we're all work in progress. But again, I'm like yourself, as in I always think, well, how can I impart the knowledge and the wisdom and even that awareness for kids to, okay, if you're bullied or if you see somebody being mean to somebody else, you know what to do. Always treat others how you want to be treated yourself, and those kind of things. But as you were talking about, like, what are the good qualities in you? What are your strengths? And really allow them to, not in an ego way, but to have that sense of self, believe in themselves, be their biggest cheerleader, but also give that energy out. It means that kids have better emotional resilience and intelligence, and that they can, I think, by sharing all of the things that we have, it means that even if it's one child, it's the rippling effect. And if somebody listens to this today, as we were talking about before, if it reaches one person, it means that's impacting another person's life. So, yeah, the fact that you are, as I said, um, turning your pain into power, the things that your struggles and things that you overcame, and it's like a journey. We're all, there's always things that we're navigating through. Having a product that can bring so much joy, because even when I was looking at the video and the pictures, I like, it nearly brought me to tears, although I'm very emotional anyway. But it's I know it's coming from so much love, and it's that little spark of hope and playfulness and fun, and allowing a child, as I said, to just tap into their imagination. It's those things that they'll remember. They're the time that they'll be able to reflect and say, oh, right, I'm able to navigate through the obstacles, because they'll hold on to those cherished memories. So you're changing the trajectory of a lot of kids' lives through having a beautiful product like this. But also the activity, like, that's really beautiful, that like the man, not manual, but like having the activities and the creativity and all the other like additional supports. Can you
yeah,
talk to me about that? Because I didn't realize there was so much in it.
yeah, yeah. So kind of originally what I was doing was I had this booklet that came with it. This
Mm,
comes on all of the shirts, and there's a handful of activities, and the idea was always to kind of like expand on that. And so what we've
mm.
done is also with every shirt there comes this other card, which has a QR code on
Wow.
it right here,
Oh, that is class. I love it.
with a
It's
little heart with
brilliant.
the wings and the you
Mm,
know. But that QR code, you scan that, and it
yeah.
takes you to the My Wings Flight School. So this is the digital. It's part of our website right now, but it's a digital platform
Mm,
where there's the whole collection, of these different activities, and the activities aren't like, oh yeah, sit in front of the computer and like do this computer stuff. It's like, here's some instructions for how to do something physical,
mhm,
together, and then um, nurturing these different qualities, that we're talking
yeah,
about, and and there's ways that I'm looking to I mean, there's a lot of a vision of what that can become. It could be, shaped one direction for school use, for example, to be used in schools. So I've had schools buy these and use them in
mm,
the classroom, and the kids, they're having an awesome time like that. And I've been working with some teachers to develop a curriculum So the My Wings Flight School or Flight Academy, and then as you go through and you can complete, the different fun assignments, we can gamify the experience, so they're passing the levels or whatever, and they can earn the just gamify it, make it fun, but doing these real quality nurturing types of activities, but also by having it digital like that, it's a way to scale it, to make it accessible to millions of people around the world, and it can
Mhm.
be, like I was saying, it could be adapted to use at home for home use. It could be used in a different way for in schools, kindergartens, preschools, different age groups. So, you know, I mean, there's the booklet that comes with it, but this is a really cool way. Having the digital component is a really
Mhm.
cool way to keep adding on to it, keep building it. Also, part of the idea is that uh, user generated content, like the audience or the people who are engaging with it, they might have awesome activities, that, hey, this is
Yeah.
something that we did. And then part of what the vision too is so that, people who are involved in My Wings and the flight school, it could be a community, people
Yeah.
around the world could be tapping in with each other. And
Mhm.
we can do like global events. Maybe we do like a a cleanup day, and so
Mhm.
My Wing, all the kids can put on their My Wing shirts, and the adults can make their own wings, or get the adult size My Wing shirt, and
That's what I'm thinking. As you're
yeah,
speaking, I want one of them.
I have made a few. I have one. I have like it's not actually this cool as these ones.
Yeah.
I made a different style when I was making the prototypes, but they're fun. Like
Yeah.
I
'Cause
made,
I
so
think,
I've got some long sleeve with the wings, but
yeah.
they feel really good to wear.
So, because butterflies have always symbolized, like the caterpillar pillar turning into butterfly, always symbolizes transformation to me. And
Yeah,
especially many times where I felt rock bottom, or I felt like, oh, you see other people doing things, and it's usually ourselves holding us back, not believing in ourselves or putting ourselves down. But I think, and that's why I think, oh, like even adults would love these. They're fantastic. It's the it's the community, but also really deepening connections, creating more engagement. Um, Again, those little, not challenges but activities. It's it's definitely needed, because I think what happens, a lot of people, and I've seen this as well, as in, because there's such busy schedules, it's like people are either sitting at the kitchen table, or they're in same rooms, or even in restaurants, and nobody's talking to anybody because they're on their phones. So what I love about this, it's obviously attracting them via, okay, the app, which is incredible, in the community, but then encouraging them to do things together,
yeah,
to communicate and create and have fun, and create those memories that,
yeah,
again, are so cherished and invaluable.
yes. And on the memories part, so part of the other, some of this is existing and some of it is being developed, right?
Yeah.
One of the developments that I'm really excited about is as people go through the flight school and do these different activities, that they
Mhm.
can be, documenting it, like taking a picture when they're completing, as they're doing this, maybe one of the activities, or are going and doing some kind of community service, or like, take a picture of that so it can be like uploaded, and then you pass that mission or something, like,
Yeah.
and then as you, and having some of these conversations, like about something that's special about you. I mean, I think, there could be some really beautiful discoveries or experiences,
Mhm.
and then to be able to kind of document that as you're going through it. Wow, my child said this, really surprising thing when I asked this question, or I was surprised that this was my answer, and documenting some of
Mhm.
that. And then at the end, it could be, or along the journey, it could be some kind of like a memory, um, that could be put
Memory
together and
banker. Yeah.
compiled in a really sweet way, to where it can be like this capsule of, like a time capsule, or like
Yeah.
that captures your journey from that special time in your child's life, or, the child's life. And
Yeah, that's beautiful. And again, it's those things that time is something none of us get back. And
Yeah.
I feel like if anybody's listening to this, or if you're in a school, if you're a teacher, if you're someone that's intrigued, like please reach out to Lee, because it's always the things that we regret not doing.
Mm.
Like even just allocating that and creativity. As you were talking about, like even the caretakers or parents, it's like we live through teaching children. I know that when I was looking after kids, it was like I got to relive my own childhood, because it's that creativity and the playing and making art and taking photos. Because I think documenting all of those things again is so important, and it's having those again, their transition, their growing up, and looking back, and you'll always have them. Like you'll always be able to look back and say, okay, do you remember we done this thing that day? But the can you hear me?
Yep.
Breaking up
Yes.
a bit? No. All right.
No, you're
So anyway,
loud
my
and clear.
point is
You're
that
a little blurry, but yeah, I hear you very well.
it's absolutely incredible. Um, so so we know some of your vision. Is there anything else you would like to share in regards to the community, and even for kids with special needs and things like that? Because I worked in rehab care in Ireland, and I think again, it's allowing them to tap into their creativity. And I think it's so important. It's such a beautiful message and idea for organizations and for schools. What, how can they approach you, or how can they contact you in regards to maybe um, offering this as something like an additional support?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to get in touch with me directly is probably emailing me. That's one way to do it. We can kind of talk more about it and put something together for a school, because that curriculum that I was talking about, for example, that's something that's being developed. So that's in the works right now. We have
Yeah.
some activities already. Like if you scroll the QR code here, scan that, then it takes you
Mm.
to the flight school, and there is already some activity, some fun stuff there that can be done in classrooms or at home. But then there's this whole other, there's a lot more to come. But people
Mm.
can reach me on through email, which is Lee at
Mm.
my dash wings dot
Mm.
com. And
Yeah.
that's also the website is my dash wings.com.
Mm.
So people can look there. The other thing that I was thinking it would could be cool to mention is about the Gift of Wings program, because we haven't really touched on that yet, but well,
Yeah.
we have a little bit. But you were mentioning about working with organizations that serve children who've been through some different kinds of more challenging experiences. Um,
Mm.
and we have so part of the business model of My Wings, and really the whole point of it in a way, or a big part of it, is this, helping children who've been through more challenging situations. So the Gift of Wings program is a part of My Wings, and through that we donate these My Wings shirts and access to these activities, and as we develop the whole program more, um, that access to the program, and we donate this to
Yeah.
organizations that serve children. So, for example, we did an event with the Shriners Hospital for Children in Sacramento, California, which is one of the areas that I'm from in California.
Mm-hmm.
We did a beautiful event with a bunch of the kids out there, and collaborated with their play therapy department, and just had an amazing day together, face painting. We had cutout wings that we had made, and the kids were painting them. And the question was, "Where will your wings take you?" And it was bilingual, because there's a lot of Spanish speaking children, and it was just an amazing day together. And then we donated 100 My Wing shirts to the hospital, and the hospital
Wow.
was then able to give these shirts to children when they were leaving their stay in the
Yeah.
hospital. Some of these kids are there for months, um,
Yeah.
And when they got out, they were gifted a My Wing shirt, and they got to, like, so sort of commemorate their journey and moving forward. And then we've done events and collaborations with Save the Children. In Sweden, there's quite a lot of children who are refugees from other parts of the world. We've done some really sweet events with them and donated, again, like more than 100 shirts, and then done some collaborations with different orphanages and Africa and India, and it's just a really beautiful part of the program. And part of the vision for that is to also bring in, and how I was talking about being able to really like adapt and tailor those activities in the program, but to really bring in experts, people who have real expertise in play therapy, child development, and maybe even specific types of traumas or kind of
Mhm.
circumstances that the children might be
Yeah.
working through, to be able to kind of bring in some of these play therapy, uh, healing kind of um, activities into their donation, so that as they get that, they're able to use these tools and resources also for the kids in their journey.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's a really impactful and very on point with Friends of Impact. Impactful, life-changing, transformative, very generous, and very, again, creating that rippling effect, especially for kids in need or that are struggling, and orphanages, kids in hospital. Like, having something like that is not only a celebratory, symbolic thing to have, but also they'll be able to look back, okay, overcame that illness. Even though they were months in hospital, but to have something to symbolize, okay, I've came through that, and I'm having that photo of them, even in their little t-shirt. It's so it's so priceless. That's what it is. It's absolutely priceless. It makes
Yeah.
such a big difference, especially kids who really need that boost, who really need something supportive and to offer hope to them. I love it. I want some. I'm like, and I think even with as I said, teaching kids and looking after kids, it's the creativity, it's the fun, it's allowing them to park up everything else. If somebody's been mean to them at school, or if things aren't good at home, or if they're feeling really low self-esteem, whatever things have happened, allowing them to play, and allowing them, and this is adults as well, but allowing them to just have fun. It's really important. And it means that it can change, even that they're not constantly in survival, that they can actually, do what they were born to do, is in just have more fun and just relax and calm their nervous system. So I absolutely love the idea. It's, yeah, it's phenomenal. And I hope that someone hears this, or throughout the duration, even whenever it is, somebody just passes on your information, passes on the message, because that one person can change the trajectory of another child's life. And that's what it's about. It's changing one life at a time. And you just never know who could really benefit from this. But regardless of kids' background or anything like that, I just think it's an additional support, and it's such a beautiful gesture and something fabulous for them to have. It's not about the monetarial side of things. It's um, creativity, magic, allowing them to, as I said, just play and have fun, and feel really empowered and strong, and get away from the TV and the social media.
Yeah. Yep.
So, right, Lee, is there anything else that you would like to share? Now, what I'm going to do, the picture that you want to share of even of the t-shirts, I'm going to post them underneath the video, and obviously the links to contact you. Okay, we're going to not compromise, but
Becky.
I always think you navigate through things, but as long as there's information, if somebody resonates or something inspires them, reach out. And that's what it's all about. It's about people supporting people on their mission and journeys, and allowing everybody to shine, because there's enough room for everybody. And you just, as I said, you never really know who needs to hear the message or whose life can be impacted by sharing this.
Yes. Yes. Um, yeah, I agree. I was thinking about something also when you said
Okay.
that. And it's just something it's kind of coming to my mind a bit lately. And also just how what you're doing, like for me, this is part of my like mission or purpose in life. It
Hmm.
really feels like I'm like claiming that, you know. I'm like, yes, this is something that came to me and is coming through me, you
Hmm.
know. And there's also many other people who are, you know, co-creating this too. It's
Yeah.
not something that I'm doing on my own, but and kind of just, you know, in a building on top of that is by um, really like honoring that and walking with that and putting my, you know, dedicating to that, um, and continuing to nurture this and build it. I'm also finding that this beautiful concept and idea and existence of what this is, you know, not just an idea, but it is a thing, you know. It's like got it's here in the physical too, you know,
Yeah.
and it's growing, but it's
Mhm.
also fits into other people's parts of their vision, and it can be really beautiful. So for example, yesterday I was someone sent me, one of my friends sent me a message about this really sweet woman who's organizing the butterfly march, and it's she's going for the Guinness Book of World Records for the most people dressed up like butterflies in the
Wow.
world. Her organization's
Really
called
good.
the Trueness Project, and I watched. My friend sent me a link, and she's like, "Oh, this reminded me of you." And I watched. She's got a 30-minute documentary, and I watched it, and I was like, "This is amazing! Like, so beautiful. What this." And she's doing a bunch of stuff in Kenya and like really, you know, spreading this joy. It's very um, uh, in synergy or like complementary with what I'm doing with my wings. And I reached out to her because I was like, we got to talk, we got to meet, you know. So I was actually I had a really amazing conversation with her about 2 weeks ago, and then she was like, it just felt like we're kind of on this mission together. We didn't know it, but we
Yeah.
both have this we're, you know, we're doing something
Insane. Yeah.
so in sync, and now we're like a team in a sense. We're on this together, like
Yeah.
us, you know. I mean, part of what you want to do is really really encourage and empower people and living their dreams and having
Hmm.
the courage to really live their fullness and their full expression. Same with me. That's part of what I
Hmm.
want to encourage and do myself. That's, you know, part of how we know each other, and our connection is our own, you know, pursuit of that and the unfolding of that. But just how, you know, when you're doing these things that are true to your own calling, how that can really help the evolution of other kind of complementary components and create together this beautiful wave, you know,
Yeah.
of positivity and change and uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
I know, I agree because it's the compound energy and or the collective energy. And it's remembering that we're not doing everything by ourselves, that there are always people that with their different like strengths, and we all know different people. And I think by supporting one another, by connecting, and it really empowers each other. And I think your vibe always attracts your tribe. You know, if you're quirky, if you're random, if you're spiritual, like be all of it.
Yeah,
Stop, you know, and I think that comes from my own childhood, as in I always dimmed myself. I always thought I was to this, I was to that, and I completely I didn't know who I was because we mold ourselves into certain things and situations and environments as we're growing up. But now at 41, I'm like, embrace it. Be
yeah,
yourself. Laugh at yourself. You know, just be a fuller expansion of yourself. And Kim has taught us, amazingly well, and
Mm.
such a great role model, a great leader, and I love that community, and I love the friendships that it ha, has created for me. And again, it's having these conversations, allowing people who draw. I was instantly drawn to your energy because I think it was one of the videos, and Kim had said, "Now we're on limited time, Lee," or something.
Oops.
But I remember watching the video and I was like, oh, I just, again, I love the authenticity. And I think the more that we be ourselves, it gives people permission and space to be themselves too. Instead of trying to blend in, you're born to stand out. And that means empowering the next generation not to be the same, but to be the change. And it starts with us.
Yes, beautifully said. I agree. Yes.
So, is there anything now you would like to share with everyone before we finish up? Because as I said, we can do a part two at some other time. I really hope, and my intentions for this is that somebody sees it and reaches out, because you're a really easy to approach kind of guy. As I said, you do everything with generosity and kindness and love in your heart. So if even if there's school teachers, nurses that work in hospitals, if it's orphanages, foster homes, whatever organization or wherever you're from, whatever family you're from, if you feel like your child or children could benefit from this, reach out to Lee.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm really, really open, because this is it goes back to what I was just saying, and we were just talking about too. This is an open invitation. This is I'm sharing right now about this, and like I was saying, I'm not able to make this vision that I have alone. I couldn't
Mhm.
make this alone. I mean, this already, even just this part, is so many different um, people's skills and creativity going into shaping this. And now I've got, there's a big vision that I have of my wings, and I really welcome other people's visions and other people's passions to really build this together, because really when how I think of my wings is it's actually more of like a social movement more than like a
Mhm.
um, product or a business. Like when I think of it, it's like community. It's a community, and of
Yeah.
a community of upliftment, and positivity.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, seeing kids on the streets, and hey, they got the my way, hey, you got the shirt on, hey, what's up? Like instant, connection point, like and
Yeah.
also I am into the whole kids of all ages part too. So these shirts are awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I have some of these that I've made for myself, and they're super fun to wear. And I've had a lot of adults saying, "I want one too." Like, make some
Yeah,
pictures.
I'm the same. I'm like, okay, I
They're super
definitely want
fun.
one.
They're
Yeah.
really cool. And there's also other cool, ways that you can incorporate wings into fashion. Like
Hmm.
I've made some other really beautiful like batik scarves of butterfly wings and different bird wings, and there's
Hmm.
other kind of fashion items. But then again, that component of the like personal development, and
Yeah.
what you're talking of, you've mentioned several times about the caterpillar to a butterfly. That was really the original idea,
Yeah.
was the butterfly and the idea of that transformation. So in this card, in the dancing butterfly, it's got a story of I mean, actually, even right here, there's a caterpillar right here saying, "Have you seen my wings?" And then
Yeah.
it's a
Uh,
butterfly. It's like the wings are there, even when
yeah.
we don't know them. Maybe we feel them,
Hmm.
and maybe the community can help nurture that, or like, yeah, it's just a great metaphor,
Yeah.
of transformation, and really doing what we can to do our best to nurture ourselves and others, and that's what this is about. And
Yeah.
really like invite anyone who feels any kind of resonance with this to please reach out. I mean, definitely like open to all resources that are supportive of this.
Mhm.
And I'm also really calling in the means to be able to dedicate more of my focus to this um, because it's important and it's valuable. it's
Yeah,
and it's
yeah, it makes
priceless.
an impact.
It's
Yeah,
valuable and it's priceless.
yeah, it is.
you know?
It's life changing, and you really do. We don't really know the impact of those, again, that inspiration, that creativity, that playfulness, all the other additional supports that can make to a child's life. Because we all can remember the times when somebody was kind to us, or that it's the happy memories that you really want to cherish and hold on to. And especially for a child that doesn't really have many happy memories currently, or they're going through a really hard time, having something like this can make a massive difference. So I thank you so much, Lee, from my heart. And I think it's such an incredible, inspiring, beautiful um, idea, and creating so much inspiration. It was an absolute honor to speak to you. And I'm going to post everything under in the comments for anyone interested or wanting to see more visuals and things like that. Thank you. And yeah, is there anything you'd like to share before we finish up?
Yeah, I'll just keep going. No,
Maybe I shouldn't have
no,
asked.
here's what I like to share.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know if it's gonna. All right, you know what I'm gonna do real quick here.
Mm,
I'm gonna turn off the background because it's messing with the. See this right here?
mhm.
Imagination.
Yeah.
The sky is no limit.
I love it. It's brilliant.
See
Fantastic.
that?
It's oh, and
Go right
even
through
the,
it.
the art, the images, everything. There was so much thought and so much time and love, and really bringing kids on their journey of personal development and everything else. So absolutely fantastic idea, inspiration, product, and everything else with it, and creating that community. So I wish you continued health, wealth, success. I hope you thrive, and I wish you the best of luck on your travels. And I really hope that someone reaches out and shares the message. If you know someone that may be interested, share it with a friend, send it in Messenger, and spread the word, because especially nowadays, good news is needed.
Spread
So
the love.
so spread the love. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for having me on, Louise. Great to see you. Great to connect in again with you and go deeper, getting to know each other more too. And you are so beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.